Hey guys, my name is GREATGEAR. I just want to discuss to you in details why Klee could potentially be one of the most strongest DPS characters in the game at its current state. Yes, you've heard it right, and you've heard it from me. Well, some of you may be reconsidering on pulling for her, especially since there are videos out there saying that Klee sucks, or is Klee even worth it, or something like, I spent $2,000 on Klee, or even somewhere between those lines. So here's the thing, you see, if you have Diluc as your main DPS, then probably, maybe you don't want to pull for Klee anymore, and you might want to save your Primogems for other future heroes like Xiao or Zhongli if you really wanted them, or even wait for Ayaka Kamisato if you like her playstyle. But for someone who doesn't have Diluc like me, I don't really have a 5-star main DPS, then maybe having Klee is such a perfect addition to my roster, right? That would then make my Xiangling be my secondary DPS, any element for the third slot depending on what I need for the elemental reaction, and of course Venti for my support role, or any Animo for that matter. Probably go for Sucrose if I have her maxed out in terms of constellation. Okay, so at first, you may feel like playing as Klee a bit clunky. That's true actually, but when you get used to it, she's not really that hard to master. You can do stuffs like animation cancelling when using your normal attacks or E ability to cast faster. Okay, so once you've learned how much AoE her E covers, you'd be surprised. Oh, and by the way, did you know that her E ability, which is the Jumpy Dumpty, when initially casted, covers somewhat of a decent AoE, and each bounce deals damage before splitting into multiple mines? So yeah, basically Klee right now is the Pyro Goddess of Genshin Impact. So she's on the same spot as to where Diluc is. Yeah, that's right, and here's why. So each time you ascend Klee, except for the first few ascensions, it basically increases her pyro damage percentage. And this is a huge deal for every DPS characters. And you know why? Because all of Klee's skills and even her normal attacks deals, well, guess what? Pyro damage, right? So what this means is that whatever damage she should be dealing will be multiplied further by pyro damage percentage that she has from her ascensions and artifacts. So it's like the final damage versions in other games, like if you have played Dragon Nest or something like that. So that's how the damage computation works, and I'll show it to you right in the screen. Okay, so on top of that, if you happen to have the 5-star weapon from the banner, which is called the Lost Prayer of the Sacred Winds, which if you do not know, when you are in battle, increases elemental damage bonus by 6, 8, 10, 12, 14% depending on the refined level every 4 seconds with a maximum of 4 stacks, which would mean you could potentially be getting 24 up to 56% elemental damage bonus depending on the item's refined level. Again, so this is elemental damage bonus, and the totality of it multiplies whatever the final damage you have. So with 5-star Ascension Klee, she gets a whopping 21.6% extra pyro damage bonus and 28.8% when you ascend her to 6-star. So at best case scenario, with a level 90 Klee, you'd be looking at roughly 131.4% pyro damage bonus. Those are from your hidden stat, maxed weapon refine, and 46.6% from a 5-star plus 20 cap artifact with pyro damage bonus as a main stat. So at this point, you'd only need to get attack percentage and probably critical damage for the rest of your artifact's main stat, except of course for the feather and flower. And you'd want to focus on getting crit rate on substats until you get at least a 50% crit rate. So this is the most ideal scenario for Klee, since we're mostly talking about her at 0 constellation, which most people currently have. Another important thing about her is that if you look at the damage multipliers for her skills and you're seeing numbers below 100%, like the mine damage, which deals 33% damage, her 1-hit damage from her normal attack, which deals 72.2% of attack as damage. So regardless of whether or not those numbers are below or above 100%, the overall DPS is still high. If you take the meaning of DPS into account, which means damage per second, even if you're seeing low numbers on the screen, please do not be deceived when they all add up they add up real big, okay? So multiple low damage numbers when add up can have a higher overall DPS against, well, some burst damage that you see from other people. So that's also the reason why people think like Keqing isn't that strong, because they want to see big numbers on screen, right? But what they failed to realize is that she has a high DPS when built properly. And if you are on the 1% of the player base who is considered a whale and have access to Klee's constellations, you're gonna be looking at her 4th constellation, which is the Sparky Explosion, which deals an incredible amount of burst damage. Probably the highest burst damage in the game right now. So, okay, to sum it up, if you spent a lot of time building Diluc, then there's really no point in trying to build Klee right now, as you've most likely used up most of your materials, especially the Ascension materials for Diluc. And this is why people felt she is underwhelming to use, because they failed to anticipate the need to replace Diluc as the main DPS for Klee. Because for Klee to work, you need to build a team around her, okay? Klee is an amazing DPS character, and do not be discouraged when other people says otherwise. So, once again, my name is GREATGEAR, and thank you guys for watching. Till next time.
I'm a beautiful disaster, a reckoning. You wonder how I got this way. You think I'm someone to be saved, someone to clean up and tame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You think I put the gritty on your arm once you cover up my bruises and battle scars, but it always ends the same. Can't bear the things I've had to face, got you crying on your knees in pain. Oh, some things never change, never change. You break your back to make me feel again, suffocate to make me breathe again, lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Redemption ever. I stopped asking for forgiveness, cause you should know only portrait with the angels fear to go. Save myself but turn into stone, so save your judgment cause you just don't know. But some things never change, never change. They say I should feel guilty and change my ways, leaving crumpled bodies in my wake where I didn't mean to make them break. Some problems on my vein, and they keep coming like a moth to flame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You break your back to make me feel again, suffocate to make me breathe again, lose your mind from
Want to come fish blasting with me? I'll get grounded for a whole day, but it's way worth it because the fish tastes so good. Jumpy Dumpy